By the name of Allah, the Merciful and Compassionate. I would like to revise and spotlight on the literature book, Treasure Island, because a lot of students might have faced some difficulties in understanding this important story, which carries 24 marks. First of all, Treasure Island is an untrue story, unreal story. And when we say that Treasure Island is untrue or unreal story, we mean that the story of Treasure Island is imaginary, imaginary story. And in the end of the story, we have known that the story of Treasure Island, which is unreal, not real, untrue, not true, imaginary story, is a story of adventure. Is a story of adventure. Written by Robert Louis Stevenson, the Scottish writer who was born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1850 and died in 1894. Robert Louis Stevenson, the writer, the novelist of the story, moved from his own country, Scotland, to live. He went to live in the South Pacific because he was ill and because the weather in the South Pacific was warm. So he traveled from own country. He traveled from his own country looking for warmth, warmth. And he died in Samoa. He died in Samoa in 1894. So how old was Robert Louis Stevenson? He was 44 years old. The story of Treasure Island started with the coming and arrival of Captain Bill. So the story started when Captain Bill arrived at the Admiral Benbow. When Captain Bill, who has other nicknames, the Old Pirate, the Old Sailor, and the Old Captain. So if we are asking a question, who was the Old Captain, the Old Pirate, or the Old Sailor? The answer should be Bill. Bill arrived at the Admiral Benbow, which was Jim family's inn. The Admiral Benbow was Jim family's inn. In a cart, pulled by a horse, he came to the Admiral Benbow in a cart, pulled by a horse. He brought a chest with him. He brought a sea chest or a box with him to the Admiral Benbow. He asked Jim's father whether there were many people in the hotel, but Jim's father was that the hotel was not busy and empty. So Captain Bill stayed the Admiral Benbow Inn because it was not busy, it was not crowded, and it was empty. So that is the reason why Captain Bill stayed in the Admiral Bimbo. He gave Jim's father 4 gold coins. He paid these 4 gold coins in advance. Paid in advance. He paid 4 gold coins to Jim's father in advance. During his stay in the Admiral Bimbo, he drank, sang, and shouted. So Jim was afraid of him for that. Jim used to bring rum or wine for him, and he used to tell Jim stories about pirates and ships. Although our story is about pirates and treasure, but Captain Bill's stories told to Jim were about pirates and ships. He stayed in the Admiral Bimbo Inn for several weeks, and the Admiral Bimbo Inn was on the south coast of England. He was very noisy. He shouted a lot because he drank a lot. Dr. Livesey, who was the doctor? Dr. Livesey warned him, asked him to stop shouting, to stop making noise, but he threatened the doctor with a knife. Black Dog appeared and asked about Captain Bill. And because Jim did not know his real name, he told him that he had no idea about. At that moment, Captain Bill came out of his room and they faced each other. So Black Dog revealed the captain's real name. Black Dog told us about all the captain's real name. Revealed. He tried to kill Black Dog with a cutlass. And the cutlass is a type of sword. A short, heavy sword. Captain Bill tried to kill Black Dog, chased him with the sword, but Black Dog escaped. And I think that he tried to kill Black Dog not to tell, for fear of telling the other pirates about his hiding place. Not to tell the other pirates about his hiding place. But Black Dog was lucky and escaped or ran away. So he told Jim that, I must get away from here, Jim. I must leave the inn. Why? Because Felinsi men or the pirates are looking for me. And they are looking for me for the chest in my room. Jim's father died. And after that, Blind Pew appeared. Blind Pew appeared, tapping a stick in front of him. He twisted Jim's arm and asked Jim to take him to Captain Bill. Jim was forced because he was threatened, and because Blind Pew twisted his arm, he had to take him to Captain Bill. He gave Captain Bill a piece of paper. Blind Bill gave Captain Bill a piece of paper with a black spot on it. Paper with a black spot. And he told Captain Bill that they would come for him that night. And he left. After that, Captain Bill asked Jim to get his sea chest. And that was his last word, because he died immediately after asking Jim to get his sea chest. Jim told his mother that the pirates were coming for the chest inside Bill's room. And they ran together to the village looking for help, to get help from the village people. But the village people did not help Jim and his mother when they told the village people that the pirates were coming to attack the Admiral Bimbo therein. The village people did not help them because they were afraid of the pirates. So the villagers did not help Jim and his mother because they were afraid of the pirates. But a good kind man sent his son to get Dr. Livesey and to tell him that the pirates would come to the Admiral Bimbo. Jim and his mother returned to the inn. They opened the sea chest with the key. Jim found on a chain. Jim found the sea chest. Jim found the sea chest on a chain. On a chain round his neck. He opened the chest, and they found two important things inside the chest. When you opened the sea chest with the key found on a chain round Bill's neck, they found a bag of money and a leather bucket. Jim's mother started to count the coins from Bill's chest. And when Jim asked her, "My mother, what were you doing?" her answer was very wonderful. She told Jim that she would take the money he owed her and no more. From this, when Jim's mother says to her son that she will take the money he owes her and no more, Jim's mother can be described as an honest woman. The pirates came. Jim's mother, the honest woman, took a few coins, a small number of coins, from Captain Bill's bag of money. Why? Because she is honest. And Jim took the leather bucket from the sea chest. He handed and gave the leather bucket he had taken from the chest to Dr. Livesey and a rich man called Trelawney. When the doctor opens the sea chest, he found papers. And the papers were Captain Felincy papers. So the papers inside the leather bucket belonged to belonged to Captain Flint. Captain Flint, the head of the pirates, the leader, the boss, the chief. And the most important paper in the leather bucket was the treasure map. So the map shows Trelawney and Dr. Livesey the treasure place on an island called Treasure Island. So the map leads them to the treasure place. Captain Flint drew and buried and drew the treasure map of his in 1750. And the story started in 1756. So Captain Flint buried and drew his treasure map in 1750. Captain Flint, the head of the pirate, who was a terrible pirate, a very bad man. Captain Flint and Long John Silver were not real pirates. They were untrue pirates. But they were imaginary pirates. Captain Flint died in South America. After burying the treasure on an island, he died in South America. And he was a terrible man who killed many men and robbed many ships. After that, when Trelawney saw the treasure map, he decided to travel to Bristol. Trelawney traveled or decided to travel to Bristol. Why? To charter a ship. To charter a ship. To charter a ship. But before traveling to Bristol, the English seaport, he told Dr. Livesey that they would sail to Treasure Island to dig up the treasure. And the doctor would be the ship's doctor, and Jim would be the cabin boy. So Jim's job was a cabin boy, and Livesey was the ship's doctor. Then he traveled to Bristol. He chartered a ship. He paid for the use of a ship. And the ship's name was the Hispaniola. So the ship that sailed with James friends and the sailors from Bristol to Treasure Island was called the Hispaniola. Trelawney was a rich man, was a man of money. So he hired a crew. And the crew of 20 sailors. A crew of 20 sailors. Captain Smollett and 19 sailors who should have been sailors. But in fact they were not. Because Silva, the pirate, chose the sailors, but he was a dishonest man who hired pirates instead for his future plan. So the man who chose the crew of sailors or the sailors for Trelawney was Silva the pirate. He asked Trelawney, asked Dr. Livesey to bring Jim to Bristol. Dr. Livesey came to the inn and took Jim to Bristol in a coach. In a coach. In a coach. Pulled by a horse. They traveled to Bristol. And there in Bristol, Jim knew Silva. And he said that Silva, the ship's cook, was the person whom he liked the most. Whom he liked most. He was interested in him. The voyage or the journey from Bristol started on the Hispaniola to Treasure Island. On their way, while they were sailing to Treasure Island, Jim helped Silva in the galley. And the galley, Jim was working with Silva in the galley, and the galley was the ship's kitchen. The ship's kitchen. Silva had a barrett. Silva kept a barrett. Silva kept a barrett. And the barrett's name was Captain Flint. Was Captain Flint. As if it was called. Captain Flint was the name of Silver's barrett. Barrett. Silver's barrett was called Captain Flint. As if Silva called his barrett after Captain Flint, the pirate. Silva used to cook the men's food, and the men or the sailors used to eat, used to take Silver's food without complaining. Without complaining. The sailors or the men on the Hispaniola ate the food, but they didn't complain about the food. Why was that? Was it because Silver's food was tasty and delicious? No. But they ate Silver's food without complaining because they were afraid of Silva. They were afraid of Silva. They were afraid of Silva. So they didn't complain of the food cooked by Silva. The voyage and the journey went on. Jim went to the apple barrel to look for an apple to eat. So Jim got into the bottom of the barrel looking for an apple. He slept for a while, but he was woken by two men's voices, Silva and another sailor. From the apple barrel, Jim discovered Silver's plan of taking over the ship and the treasure after killing Jim's team or Jim's group, saying that I am not in a hurry. I have chosen this crew of sailors. They were not sailors, but they were real pirates. They were my shipmates who sailed with Flint, the dead man. and he was waiting for finding Flint's treasure, saying that when we find the treasure, we shall kill them all. And if we underline the word all, we shall kill them all after finding the treasure. I am not in a hurry because they have the map. When Silva says we shall kill them all, he means even Jim, my friend. Why is that? Because dead men, said Silva, dead men tell no tales. Dead men tell no tales. Which means if we leave Jim alive, if we do not kill Jim, saying that Jim is my friend, Jim will tell the police and the people that Silva and the pirates have killed my friends. So for that reason, he will kill Jim too, to hide their death. After that, the lookout at the top of the mast at that moment shouted, "Land who? I see land." Silva and the other sailor ran to the front of the ship, and Jim found a good chance to get out of the Avila barrel, or to get out from inside the Avila barrel. And when the lookout shouted, "I see land," he meant that Treasure Island. So they reached Treasure Island. The voyage from Bristol to Treasure Island, it took 1 month. So if you are asking a question, how long did the voyage or the journey from Bristol to Treasure Island take? The answer should be 1 month. Jim revealed told his friends about Silver's plan. Captain Smollett knew that, discovered that. The sailors who were working with him were not sailors, but real pirates, working or worked with Flint one day. So from that, Jim's team was made of 7 people. Jim's group was made of 7 persons. Jim Hawkins, Captain Smollett, Trelawney, Dr. Livesey, and Trelawney's 3 servants, against 19 pirates. So the pirates on the Hispaniola were 19. Some of the pirates went to the island. There were 13 men. 13 men went to Treasure Island, went to the island, went ashore in 2 boats. Silva and 12 men. So the men who went to the island in 2 boats were 13. So how many men went with Silva in 2 boats? 12 plus Silva equals 13. Jim hid among those people and accompanied them, went with them to Treasure Island. While he was running among the island trees, he heard Long John Silver's voice talking to another sailor. The sailor was called Tom. Silver asked Tom to join the pirates, saying, "Join us, Tom. Otherwise you will be alone." And when Tom refused to join Silver's group or the pirates, Silver stabbed him, killed him with a knife. So why did Silver kill Tom? Because Tom did not join the pirates. And at the same time, the other pirates killed Alan. So Silver killed both Tom and Alan. So the two men who were killed on the island were Tom and Alan by Silver. Jim, when Silver stabbed and killed Tom with a knife, Jim was hiding behind the trees. So, a question, why was Jim? Why was Jim? Or where was Jim? When Silver killed Tom, Jim was in the trees or behind the trees. He was terrified. And he had to run away from the scene of the murder, from the place of killing, saying that I had to get away from the dead man, Tom, and the murderer, the killer, Silver. While Jim was running among the trees, away from the place of the murder, he met Ben Gunn. And Ben Gunn was the strangest man Jim saw or met on the island. We knew from Ben Gunn's brief story that Ben Gunn, was marooned on the island, left on the island, exiled on the island, left marooned on the island by flinty men. Ben Gunn was marooned on the island by flinty men for 3 years. Why was that? Because Ben Gunn lied to the pirates. Ben Gunn was marooned by the pirates because he lied to them. He told them that he knew the place of the treasure when they decided to come back to Treasure Island to dig up their leaders or Flynn's treasure. Ben Gunn told the pirates that he knew the treasure place, but in fact he didn't. So they were angry with him because he lied to them, and they marooned him on the island. They left him on the island. They exiled him on the island for 3 years. Bengal lived on. Bengal was eating, lived on, and was eating fruit and fish. And he dreamt of eating cheese. So Bengal's dream, Bengal's dream, Bengal's dream was eating cheese. He was a man with white hair, long beard, torn old and ragged clothes, and while they were talking, while Jim was talking to Bengal, they heard a cannonball, a cannon shot. They ran. After that, Bengal told Jim that he wanted to meet his friends to help. The events of the story go on. Dr. Livesey had a plan of moving from the Hispaniola to the Stockton. And on the island there was an old wooden building called the Stockton. And a tall hill, a high hill, at the top of which the treasure was buried. The name of the hill was Spyglass Hill, and the name of the wooden building on the island was the Stockton. They moved. The ship had 3 boats. Silva and his men, the 13 ones, took 2 boats, and they used the 3rd one. But the boats in the story were 4, plus Ben Gunn's boat. When Jim's friends arrived at the Stockton, Silva attacked them with 7 men. But Jim's group won the battle against the pirates. Jim's plan was cutting the ship's anchor rope. He cut the ship's anchor rope, and the sea drifted the ship. Jim was sailing in Bengal's boat when it sank. So he climbed up the Hispaniola with the hang rope, and there were 3 pirates dead and a wounded 4th one. The wounded sailor tried to kill Jim with a knife, but Jim succeeded in killing him, in shooting him dead, and freeing the Hispaniola from the pirates. So Jim freed the Hispaniola from the pirates and anchored it, or stopped it, at the north end of the island. Jim returned to the Stockton to his friends, whom he left last night. But he was surprised to find the pirates, in the Stockton. So he became the pirates' prisoner. Silva decided to look for the treasure, because Dr. Livesey had given him the map. While climbing up the hill, they found a skeleton or bones, which belonged to one of Flint's 6 men who helped him. Flint took 6 men to help him bury the treasure, and he killed them after burying the treasure to hide the treasure secret. After that, Silva, Jim, and the pirates found a big hole at the top of the hill. They didn't find the treasure. So the pirates were angry and they tried to kill Silva and Jim. But Dr. Livesey, Ben Gunn, and Trelawney, Smollett was not with them. Dr. Livesey, Trelawney, and Ben Gunn saved them from the pirates. They went to the boats. They took the boats to Ben Gunn's cave. Ben Gunn had dug up the treasure. Ben Gunn had found the treasure and kept it in his cave. Jim's friends found Flynn's treasure in Ben Gunn's cave. They left 3 pirates on the island by the end of the story, and they returned to England. In the Gulf of Mexico, Silva disappeared and gone. After that, Silva took, before disappearance, his disappearance, he took 3,000 pounds from the treasure coins. They returned to England, and in England they shared the treasure, and each one took his share. Captain Smollett bought himself a house on the coast to enjoy seeing the ships sailing in front of his house, to see the ships sailing in front of his house. Trelawney took his share and did not buy anything with his share, and he went or returned to his big white house and lived there. Dr. Livesey became a rich doctor and lived in London. Ben Gunn spent his money in 3 weeks and became a beggar. And finally, Jim and his mother bought a 5 large inn, and Jim's story ended